Hey everybody, my name is Asia and welcome back to my channel. Today I am talking about my February TBR. So this is the first time I'm filming in my dorm, or the first video you should see in my dorm. This is my bed, we're filming on it. My roommate actually moved out, so I am not manifesting the energy that they're gonna give me a new roommate. I'm gonna have a single this whole rest of the semester. That's what I'm manifesting. And yeah, so I just wanted to address the different location. Y'all might see different locations all the time between my dorm, my bookshelves, my room at home. It just kind of depends. So that's it. But in January, I didn't read 3 of the books on my TBR. I did still read a lot, just not the books on my TBR necessarily. I just had a couple other books that I wanted to read that I didn't get to, which I'm going to talk about at the end of this video. But I kind of have like format that I go through. So first I'm going to talk about my book clubs. So I still need to read The Love Hypothesis by Hazelwood because our live show isn't until the 6th. So when it's about like 4 days or more into the next month, I will normally just read it that month. So I still need to read this. This is our January book club pick. Our live show is going to be February 6th at 8 p.m. EST, and I'm really excited for this because everybody loved it. I'm doing a reading vlog for this and another book, and I also might read a third book for it. I haven't decided. I've already read the first book for it, and if you want to know what that is, you can go watch my January TBR. But this one is a Star Wars retelling with grad students, and one's a professor, and I'm really excited because obviously it takes place at college. I'm at college, so hopefully I really enjoy it. And I also will probably have to go to grad school, and I know this one's more STEM, but I still kind of want to know what grad school is like. Nobody really talks about it, and I want to know what it's like, so hopefully this will help me. And then our February book club pick, I probably will not read this month. I'll probably read it in March, but I still want to mention it obviously for y'all. And we are reading Flock by Kate Stewart. This book, I honestly have no idea what it's about. I've read the synopsis so many times, and it's just one of those books that no matter how many times you read the synopsis, you will just never understand what the book is really about. I believe that there's 2 love interests in this. I don't know if it's a reverse harem or a love triangle, and I think it takes place in a small town, but a lot of people really like this series, so I'm excited to get to it, even though I'm sad to start another series. I started doing a series tracker and I haven't finished it, but the amount of series that I have unfinished is kind of ridiculous, to be honest. Then the other book club that I host is Stacks of Strange, and in February our book club pick is going to be The Hollow Places, and this one is very divisive, so I'm excited to read it for this book club because this past month we read A History of Wild Places, which most of us really liked, so I think that this one might have more mixed ratings, and I'm really excited about that because I love when we have a lot of different opinions on the book. And this one, all I know, it's about like this woman who finds a portal to somewhere else inside of her uncle's house, and he owns like a museum type house. I don't know how many things I've read with portals in it, and normally I don't like kind of like parallel universes, portals, that kind of stuff if it's like a twist, but knowing that going in, maybe I'll like it more. I honestly don't know, but I'm excited to see. Then if you don't know, every single month I am trying to challenge myself to read at least one of my book of the month picks. It doesn't have to be a book that I got that month, but just one of the book of the month books that I own, and they have not posted the picks for February yet, so I don't know what I'm gonna have. But if I decide not to read one of the books that I get, or if I don't get a book at all, I'm gonna be reading Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. This one I've heard so much about. I kind of had it as a tentative book on my TBR last month, but I didn't talk about it. This one I know is about 2 men, and one is black, one is white, and their sons were married, and then now their sons are dead, like someone murdered them, so they're going to try and get vengeance for their murders. And I heard like one of these characters is low-key like homophobic for real, but people still feel for him and they still like cry over him, so I'm excited to see how I feel about this, and it just sounds like it's going to be really good. Everybody that I know has really enjoyed this book, so I think I will too because I am basic and I like most things that other people like. I'm your basic average girl. And so the last thing that I'm participating in is the Buzzword-a-thon. I didn't really say that I was officially going to participate in this, but I kind of enjoy doing it. So this month I'm kind of excited for the picks. Last month I wasn't. This one is pronouns, so There is one book when I was looking through on the story graph, because you can see what books people have added to the challenge. Someone added For He Can Creep by Siobhan. Carroll, I've never heard of this. It's like a 30-page novella. This man gets committed to like a psych ward type thing because he says that he's like being commissioned by God to write this poem, but then it turns out he actually years prior sold his soul to the devil or something like that, and the devil is now coming to collect, and he wants him to write a poem that'll start the apocalypse. And then this man has like a cat who's trying to save his soul and save humanity from the apocalypse. And I just think that sounds so interesting. So I definitely want to read this one. But if I do get to that and I do have time, which I probably won't, but if I do, I really want to read In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, because obviously the other one was he. So this one, everybody's been raving about it. I really want to know what it's about, and I just want to know why it says knife in the title, but there's scissors. I want to know what that's about, because that's just like that's a choice. And I heard that it is like discussed in here why that's like a thing, or at least you know why. And this is, I think it's like a reunion. Yeah, this is 6 friends, 1 college reunion, 1 unsolved murder. And I think the murder happened like in the past, and now like one of the people is trying to figure out who murdered the other person. But I don't know, I'm not really like super into like a closed door mystery like this, but I've only read a few, so I'm excited to try another one to see if I really like it. Now, before I get into my carryovers, I'm just going to talk about a couple other books that I have in my TBR. Obviously, House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. I'm so excited for this book to come out. It is like my most anticipated release of the entire year besides the new Karen's Letter. Like, these two are like going hand in hand. But this one I'm so excited for. It's on pre-order, and I told my dad the day that it shows up at our house, I'm gonna need him to drive it over here to me. And I know that I'm really gonna be busy around that time. I don't care. I'm reading this book, and I'm really excited because House of Earth and Blood was one of my favorite books of 2020. I read it twice a year. I did not read it in 2021, but I really do remember the reread that I did in November of 2020. So I'm really excited to continue on in the series. Sarah J. Maas could never do me wrong. She will never do me dirty. So I'm really excited to get to this one because I know that it's going to be fantastic. It's probably going to be one of my favorite books of the year. I do have a couple arcs, but only one comes out in February, and that is Cherish by Bethany C. Morrow. This was the same person who wrote what is it called? It's like a mermaid book.
It's almost hurtful to me to watch her be so dumb.
I'm really excited to get to this one because it sounds really good. I actually filmed 2 anticipated releases videos, one for thrillers and horror and the other one for like romance, fantasy, everything else, but it's kind of too late to post them. The thriller and horror one was actually really funny, but I'm probably just going to try and do one for like the middle 2 quarters of the year, I think, and then one towards the end of the year for the last little video. But this was one of my most anticipated because it's about this black girl who also has this other black girlfriend, but this other black girlfriend was adopted by a white family. It was a very white life, and then our main character, she starts to like try and integrate herself into this family, and they're kind of weird. So it's kind of like low-key giving a little bit of Get Out. Everything always compares to Get Out, and I don't understand why they do that, because usually if it's just like a thriller or something with some sort of mysterious element and black people, Get Out. But this one seems like a little bit like Get Out-ish because it has like the creepy white family. So I'm kind of excited for this one to see where it goes. And then I have a couple for March, so I want to try and get started on those this month. I probably won't, but we will see anyways. So one that I put on here is Sundial by Catriona Ward. Catriona Ward wrote The Last House on Neela Street, which everybody loved. I still have not read it yet, but this one was one of like the read now ones. So me and all the Stacks of Strange hosts got it when it was read now, and this one comes out like I think like March 1st or at the very beginning of March. So that's why I want to try and read it in February, even though February is a short month. So I probably will not get to all this, especially with House of Sky and Breath on this, but I still have hope.
Delusion. Convince yourself.
I have no idea what this one is about. I just know that it takes place in the Mojave Desert, so that's really interesting. I don't think I've ever read a book that takes place in the desert, at least in our world. The An Ember in the Ashes series kind of takes place in a desert, at least in part, but that's like a completely fantasy world. I don't think I've ever read a book in our world that takes place in a desert, so I'm excited to read it. And then the last books that I do want to talk about that are carrying over is I have Jade City, which I probably will not get to because House of Sky and Breath, but I still really do want to read this, and I'm really sad that I couldn't read it. And then I also have There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark. If any of these 3 that are carryovers I end up reading, it probably will be There Are No Saints, just because it'll check off for the 12 books to read in 12 months by 12 friends, and it'll check off a book for my 22 books to read in 2022, which I already read like 2 or 3 books off that list, so I was pretty proud of myself. And then it's also a romance, and you know, February is obviously Valentine's Day month, so we're feeling the love vibes.
So if you hear that noise, that is my fridge.
But then the last book that's a carryover is White Smoke by Tiffany D. Jackson. I still want to finish this out just so I can do my Guide to Tiffany D. Jackson video, because I really like most of Tiffany D. Jackson's work. Again, I don't think I'm gonna like this book, but I still just want to see. Maybe I could. I have hope again. Like, maybe I could like it. So we will see. So those are my reading plans for February. Some of them I definitely will get to. A lot of them I probably won't, but I'm excited to try and read as much as possible. I definitely have been slacking a little bit since I got to school, just because sometimes I go through phases where I want to listen to music or audiobooks, and at school the main way that I can read is audiobooks. I don't really have time to like sit down and read, so I'm hoping to try and like listen to a little bit more audiobooks, especially because I started listening to music at work. So like I listen to it for hours, and I can't really listen to an audiobook at work like that. Like, it's too, like, I can't concentrate on it enough. But because I'm getting a fix of for hours of listening to music at work, I'm hoping that I'll want to listen to audiobooks more outside of work. Let me know what you're going to be reading in February down below. I would really love to hear about it. And if you love any of these books, if you hate any of these books, let me know down below in the comments. But again, that's all that I have for this video today, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye everybody.
Trying to look like you winning. I'm writing rhymes in the kitchen, soaking in moments we live in. Yeah, you got the nerve to be on me, faking your life for the IG.